Hello Planeswalkers and welcome to the Sanctum. Today's video is my Omnath Locus of Rage deck. Omnath is 7-drop, a 3 generic double red, double green for a legendary creature elemental, 5/5 with landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever Omnath Locus of Rage or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to target creature or player. I have my deck separated a little bit different than normal today, and we're going to start with our basic lands, and I have 10 mountains and 10 forests. I have 5 fetches: the Windswept Heath, Verdant Catacombs, Wooded Foothills, Bloodstained Mire, and Arid Mesa. I only have 5 because I find I run out of basic lands to search for sometimes with this deck, and I don't want to cut any of my basic lands to add the other fetches. I run the 3 panoramas I can, Naya, Bant, and Jund, because they come into play and can add mana. That way you can play them before you have Omnath on the field, and then sack them and get the landfall trigger with him on the field. And then I have a Blighted Woodland. It fetches 2 lands, so it will actually put you ahead in mana, and also you taps for mana until you're ready to sacrifice them. I have a Stomping Ground, Cinderglade, and a Taiga. And then I have a Groll Turf. I do have an Amulet of Vigor in the deck, so I can bounce itself and add mana, but mostly just being able to bounce itself and get an extra land drop is really useful. Kessig Wolfrun, Strip-Mine, Guy's Cradle, Nykthos Shrine to Nyx, Valakut the Moten Pentacle, Reliquary Tower, and Hanweir Battlements. And we're going to start with our extra land drops. So we have an Exploration, an Azusa, Oracle of Moldiah, Mina, and Din. And we have a Sakura Tribe Scout and a Sky Shroud Rangers who can tap to put land in, so you can put land onto the battlefield on other players' turns. We have a Courser to play off the top of the deck and a Crucible to play from our graveyard. In the foreground we have Cultivate, Kodama's Reach, and Nisa's Pilgrimage, as well as a Far Wanderings. I try to restrict the deck to spells that gained at least 2 lands to hand. Reap and Sow does not, but being able to put any land from your deck into play so you can go get your Guy's Cradle Nykthos was worth it. We have Scapeshift, Boundless Realms, and for instant speed we have Harrow, Realms Uncharted, which doesn't put them into play, but you go grab 4 fetches and it really doesn't matter which ones go to the graveyard, but you'll have lots of advantage out of it. Nisa Vastwood Seer. She also only gets 1 land, but she flips into a very useful planeswalker, so she made the cut. We have Fertilid. He's also an elemental, so if you use his last +1/+1 counter when Omnath's on the field, he'll trigger it, Omnath. But he has the ability to make target players shuffle their library. So if somebody uses Event the Curic Tutor, you can make them shuffle before they get to draw. You have a Maya Elder. And then to get our land back, we have Life in the Loam, Splendid Reclamation, Creeping Renaissance, and Titania, Protector of Argoth, who also makes elemental creatures and is herself an elemental. For general recursion, we have Eternal Witness, Seasons Past, very strong card, and Praetor's Council. Our other landfall is Lotus Cobra. There's an Amulet of Vigor, so the lands come into play untapped after Boundless Realms or Splendid Reclamation. Prismatic Omens, so we have more mountains for Valakut. Soul Ring. We have other token producers, such as Synchronous Royal, whose landfall put a 2/2 elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Elemental Mastery. It's an aura that enchanted creature has tap. Put X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste into play, where X is this creature's power. Remove them from the game at end of turn. And since they remove themselves from the game at end of turn, you want to make sure you have a sack outlet before you utilize that. And then we have Tempt with Vengeance, X in red. With Tempting Offer, put X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste on the battlefield. Each opponent may put X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste on the battlefield. For each player who does, put X 1/1 red elemental creature tokens with haste on the battlefield. Most players understand they don't want to give you the Tempting Offer, but if they do, you're going to have a lot of fun. Firecat Blitz, double red and X to put X 1/1 red cat token creatures with haste into play and remove them from the game at end of turn. So once again, they don't die unless you have a sack outlet, but it has flashback, double red, sacrifice X mountains, so you can flash it back with only paying 2 red and not have to worry about the rest of the mana at the cost of throwing all your lands in your yard. But since you have a lot of land recursion and a Titania, it's not always a bad idea. To get more value out of our tokens, we have a Doubling Season and a Parallel Lives. Mana Echoes for our big X spells. Ogre Battle Driver, Creature Pump, and Haste. And then Warstorm Surge, because you don't want to be stuck having to swing with your team. For our sack outlets, we have an Evolutionary Leap, Goblin Bombardment, Greater Good, Perilous Forays. If you have this Amulet of Vigor and Omnath on the field, you can tutor all of your basic lands into play and deal a lot of damage. Ashnod's Altar. For card draw, we have Elemental Bond. Whenever a creature with power 3 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It doesn't say non-token, and it also doesn't say may. You might need to be a little bit careful to not deck yourself with it. Shamanic Revelation. Most of your tokens are ferocious with the power 4 or greater, so you can gain a lot of life off of it, which is not inconsequential. Tireless Tracker, and this guy was an all-star when I added him to the deck. I'm very happy with it. And then Regal Force. So I have a Skull Clamp and a Memory Jar. Now, Memory Jar you can't just play and sacrifice whenever, but if you have a couple of extra land drops and you didn't play a land this turn, you can get a lot of value out of it. For general removal, we have a Reclamation Sage, an Acidic Slime, Beast Within, and then we have Sylvan Safekeeper to keep Omnath safe from targeted removal, Vexing Shusher to keep the control players from countering our big spells, and then we have a Genesis Wave as a big spell, Chord of Calling, and I will tell you the creature I've tutored up most with this is the Sylvan Safekeeper. The Instant Speech Shroud catches a lot of people off guard. And then we have a Kozilek Butcher of Truth for the shuffle effect. And that's my Omnath Locus of Rage deck. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them in my follow-up video. Thanks for watching.